Quite frankly, I don't want to be doing this while I'm fucking driving. Like, where's my fucking buttons? No, you gotta go in a screen and hope you don't fucking veer off the road. Everything's a fucking touch screen, a fucking button. I'm so fucking tired of it. I'm so tired of it. And then you got these stupid ass fucking shifters. Like, what? This is where the wiper's supposed to go. This is not for a shifter. And then, where's the start button? Not here on a Volkswagen where it usually is. Not here like a normal car. Hidden. Why?
What person is making these designs for the car? Like, who's sitting in the office saying, yeah, we definitely need the gear to be where the window washer is and the controls? Needless to say, some of these features are ridiculous. They tell you don't text and drive, but yet the whole time they have a full monitor right there for you to be playing around with. Did we finally hit technology fatigue? I think we have reached the max. Have you even seen the new Cadillacs where they have a full-on screen and then there's no buttons? The buttons are embedded inside the screen. Volkswagen is actually going back to real buttons on their new models because customer feedback about this BS was so bad. Thank God. Don't you love how they give you a ticket for being on your phone, but they give you a whole computer with a giant tablet?
The most frustrating thing about this Audi Q6 is over here. They have this little panel of capacitive buttons to do everything. But what kills me the most is not this panel, as dumb as I think it is. It is this door handle piece, because there is a blank switch here, which on the passenger side is a lock-unlock button. But because on the driver's side, the lock-unlock is down here, you get a blank panel. How? This is everything that's wrong with car design. You get this thing that nobody wanted, and as a result of that, every single one of these has this blank switch. There's no option that fills this in. They couldn't have bothered to just make a different piece to go here so that you wouldn't have to look at this. But every single one of these cars, they're like 70 grand, and you get this blank, scratchy piece of plastic. Why?
Just got your new 2026 Dark Armor Rogue. It's my 4th Rogue in a row. This whole speed sensitive volume feature that you have. So I'm driving 2 hours home from the cottage right now, and you're gonna lower my music to this much every time I hit the brakes. This is the most frustrating, disrespectful shit. I know how to drive, okay? Been driving 22 years. I've been on the road for 45 minutes. My volume has been lowered to nothing against my will 187 times. And you can't even turn the volume up after it lowers it. So it lowers it down to 1/4 volume, and then it keeps it locked for at least 2 minutes. So I'm turning the dial unlimited amounts of times, and it will not raise the volume until like 2 minutes have passed. If I can't turn this feature off, I am returning this lease. There's not a shot. What? This is the fucking NARC 3000 radio. Like, I cannot. To add insult to injury, it doesn't even fucking work the way you probably intended it to, because I finally hit the stretch of highway. It's all clear. I'm going at buck 40, not a single car in front of me, and it just lowered the volume on me. This is the most open, highest speed that I've been all morning, and you lowered the volume. So it's not even, like, nothing about this is correct, not even as intended. I just got your new 2026.
The way I already fight with people who'd play around with the music system while I drive, this would piss me off. I would return that car immediately, right then and there. My 2009 vehicle will never betray me like this. You can shut it off in the volume settings. It's so annoying. But why even have it to begin with? And I'm pretty sure if you go through the whole menu system, it's probably buried deep inside there. And I'm pretty sure every time you turn the car on and off, it goes back to its original settings.
I need someone to explain this to me like I'm an idiot. Why is it that in 2026, with all of our technological advances, and all of our vehicles having these digital displays and stuff like a message board, there's still no way that your car can tell you why the check engine light is on? It just turns on. Like, it has a text display board. The computer is obviously able to see that there is a code being thrown. But instead of just telling you what it is, you have to go into some type of mechanic or dealership, and they have to hook up a special machine that reads that code and tells you what it is. Why can't they just put it on there like, oh, hey, why is my check engine light on? It's like, oh, your O2 sensor.
Okay, 2025 Jeep Wagoneer. We're currently in drive.
Not a Jeep. Jeeps are not reliable.
And then, yep, there it went. Completely shuts off. I was in drive. Didn't even put the car in park, completely shuts off, and I have to redo it. And then it throws, usually it'll say like power steering. Yep, there it is, right there. If anybody knows what this is, let me know.
I had rented a Hyundai Elantra that kept on doing this every time I stopped at a light. And it was so frustrating because even if you turn it off and on, it still wouldn't start. You would have to do it like 3 or 4 times until it started, and then everything was normal. I returned that car immediately because I was getting stuck at every single light. Someone's like, I think this is the issue. It looks good from the outside, but golly, the amount of problems that car has. Oh geez, you might as well just leave it at the shop. Congrats on paying $80,000 for an unreliable brand. For all the money, buy a Toyota or Lexus. Absolutely, especially the Lexus.
Well, it turns out that hating on touchscreens in cars wasn't just an internet thing after all. A new study of nearly 80,000 new car owners just confirmed that the biggest frustration in modern cars is the infotainment system. Even more interesting is that it's the only category that got worse compared to the year before. Everything else improved, including powertrains, interiors, seats, driver assistance systems, and overall driving experience. I hated hearing all this nonsense about, oh, people like touchscreens in cars, it's only the chronically online TikTok commenters that hate it, and they can't even afford the car anyway. Well, this JD Power survey says otherwise. And this is the perfect example because these aren't car enthusiasts arguing in the Instagram comments. These are real people who went out, bought a car, lived with it for 90 days, and then gave their opinion on the purchase they actually made. And it's not just some tiny sample either, it's 80,000 people. And JD Power is one of the biggest names in the industry when it comes to consumer satisfaction. So you can bet manufacturers pay attention to this stuff. And to be clear, I don't think that touchscreens are necessarily the problem. They can be helpful when done right. The problem is manufacturers keep getting further and further away from right. Screens keep getting bigger, while more and more commonly used features get buried behind menus and submenus and touch controls that are just horrible to use. If it takes longer than 1 second to turn on my heated seat or change my climate controls, that is horrible design.
Do you think this is the worst trend in cars right now? Do you think this is the worst trend in cars right now? The idea of taking a giant iPad and sticking it on the center console and just putting all of your controls for climate and entertainment and everything else in there. Tesla is obviously the worst offender here because they kind of started this trend, and they also don't even give you a screen behind the wheel to show you your speed and odometer and stuff like that, which is such an obvious cost-cutting measure that it's just insulting. Subaru, though, is right behind them with one of the worst center consoles I've ever used. Like, it seems like they chose the cheapest possible display because it runs slowly and is laggy, and the controls overlay other controls in weird ways, but Subaru still gets the leg up over Tesla because they have a gauge cluster and real buttons on the steering wheel. And then you have this trend with luxury cars with these huge curved displays that stretch across the entire dash, some of them even into the passenger seat area. But some of these aren't that bad because they still give you a display behind the steering wheel, and they're usually pretty flush with the dash, so they aren't blocking your line of sight like some of these huge square iPads. In my opinion, this version that Toyota is currently doing is basically perfect. You still have a pretty large touchscreen, but it's long and rectangular, it doesn't get in the way of your line sight, and you still have a ton of physical controls. It just feels balanced and well considered and actually designed by somebody who uses a car on a daily basis. Hondas are also currently really good at this. I'm sorry, I just have to come back to Tesla for a second because theirs is by far the worst. They don't even give you physical controls to change gears anymore, and having to play an iPad mini game to change the climate controls while you're driving is just the worst experience out there.
Another thing that was even worse on the Tesla is the fact that they had the left and right indicator as a button on the steering wheel instead of just something that you hit. The amount of times Tesla drivers frustrate me on the road because they flipping leave that button on, and you think that they're trying to merge into the lane, but they just forgot not to press it off. Now, the worst trend is monthly subscription fees to unlock features that are physically installed on your car. And I hope all of these car manufacturers that are moving towards EVs actually incorporate buttons, because no one wants to have everything inside a screen anymore. Anyway, let me know what your thoughts are about all of these new features that car manufacturers are incorporating into the infotainment screen. Leave your comments down below. I'd love to hear what your thoughts are. If it's your first time to the channel, make sure you like, comment, and subscribe. It really does help out the channel. Also, if you haven't, check out this video. I'm sure you're going to enjoy it. But nevertheless, I'll see you guys when I see you. Peace.